Spilling the tea with Sandy.
K-Man's top news headlines of the day from CMR.
Good morning, Sandy. Happy Monday
Morning.
and Halloween.
Oh, happy.
Good morning, Blake. Look at me.
Oh, you are dressed
Happy
as
Halloween.
a little busy bee.
Need to put filters on us. Can you put filters on us for our Halloween costume?
I'm wearing a mask this morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
How's everyone doing?
Good.
I can't even.
What's life without it? What's life without a good laugh?
There you
Hello.
go. Watch out. You
My wings don't work.
just might get stung, though. If you're not
I
careful.
know.
Yeah.
I know. So, in news headlines this Halloween morning, we have some very interesting news over the weekend. First one up is police are searching for 4 men in a gas station robbery.
Huh?
Oh my goodness. Yes. This happened in the somewhat sleepy town, but not always sleepy town of Bodentown over the weekend.
Seriously.
Is this the same 4 guys that
I kind of wondered about that myself.
of McRuss?
There's no way to know. It could very well be because they've not apprehended those as far as we know.
Mm-hmm.
So they might be working as a team. But anyway, 4 men robbed the Mostyn's gas station, armed robbery on Bodentown Friday night. So reports are that sometime after 8 p.m., they did it quite early as well.
Yeah, that's like a busy Friday night.
Yeah.
Yes, right. 4 men dressed in dark-colored clothing entered the store, 3 with handguns, and made demands for cash and other items. And the 4 men made off with a quantity of cash, liquor, and cigarettes in an unknown direction. They seem to be smokers. I mean, the last ones took cigarettes too, right? So either they're selling them and pawning cigarettes, or they actually smoke, which is kind of interesting.
I think it would be
Probably.
Wouldn't be smart to sell cigarettes because then that'd be like a giveaway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, if you're smart, I don't know if they are.
Don't know. Maybe they send them off island.
Smoke them if you got them.
Take them off island and sell them.
Who knows? I don't know. And then, my apologies. The police have arrested a woman for stabbing a man several times. So the police were very, very busy over the weekend. A 29-year-old woman was arrested after she reportedly stabbed a man several times during an altercation earlier in the week. She has since been bailed pending further communications, but the story is that around 7 p.m. on Wednesday, October the 26th, police and other emergency services were dispatched to a report of a stabbing incident in Belford Estates area of Bodentown. We reported on this, that a man and a woman both allegedly were stabbed. That was the initial report. And police have now confirmed that the woman and the man, who were known to each other, had a physical altercation, resulting in the man receiving several stab wounds, and he was transported to the hospital by ambulance, where he was treated for serious but non-life-threatening injuries and then later released. And she has since been arrested in relation to the wounded incident. So, as I would say, what a hot mess. Yes, indeed. 3 teens went missing over the weekend, and 2 of the teens have since turned themselves in. And, the authorities are still looking for the 3rd person. So if you know the whereabouts of the remaining, I think it's Michaelia is how the name is pronounced, Cunningham, and Austina Williams, they're the ones who were found, but they're still looking for Jasmine Ebanks, who they say did not return home after school on Friday. So no, wait a minute. Yeah, Thursday. My apologies. On Thursday.
Where did they find the other teens?
They, I think, just turned themselves in after they saw that the police were looking for them.
Were they just out, having a good time?
Yeah,
kind of thing, or?
I guess. They said they were unharmed and they were perfectly fine. So, yeah.
And are they friends with Jasmine? That's still missing?
Yeah, they're all friends.
Oh, okay. And they have no leads as to where.
Well, I'm sure that if they wanted to, they could assist the police in locating Jasmine. Yeah. So hopefully they will. Jasmine, come on home, honey child. Certainly not worth the stress that you're causing everyone in the community. There was a vehicle that was set ablaze in an arson attack, the police say. That happened last week as well. Yeah. Crazy week, Halloween. This one happened on the morning of the 28th at 4:30 a.m. 911 got a phone call. of a fire, and sure enough, the vehicle was ablaze, and it is a case of suspected arson. So if you know anything about that, do assist the police. And finally, the best story of the weekend in a somewhat humorous way. They say save the best for last.
Oh boy, making me nervous.
Yeah. I don't know how to be politically correct about this one, but I'm just going to read you what the headline says. Obese man pulls gun on officer when unable to outrun him. So he wasn't able to outrun him because of his size, 30-year-old man from Bodden Town. And so he pulled him.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And that was the headline they chose? Or
well, I mean, what else are we going to say? I mean, I didn't write it, but what else are we going to say? What are we going to call him? Fat? I mean, we only have so many choices to describe if you're overweight.
But so wait, he was trying to run away, couldn't. So then
he
ended up
because of his size. So that's the most important part of the story. He couldn't run. And so as a result, he ended up pulling an imitation firearm, they say, on a police officer, and even cocked the gun and everything. And so, this is not a cool end result, but he has now been arrested.
Well, in America, you'd be shot.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah.
Unless you pulled it on what are those guys called? The guys with guns here. What are they called?
Oh yeah, the
firearm
unit.
Yeah. Then you might get shot if you pull a gun on a cop.
Wow.
That's self-defense.
Oh, sure.
No, but geez.
Yeah.
Also, that's that just running away, trying to evade arrest. Okay, that's one thing, but now you pulled out a imitation firearm or whatever. Then that just adds more.
Well, that's jail time, right? You can't even have a imitation firearm in silence.
So
for sure. So those are your news headlines for the morning. Happy Monday.
Well, thanks for all that, Sandy.
Fun times.
Yeah. I was like, "Ooh, it was a quiet weekend," and then apparently not. You've been
a lot. There was a fire, a stabbing.
Yeah, all sorts of stuff.
And you made it to Spookfest.
Yes, I did. That was fun.
Thanks for streaming a little bit of that for us. That was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Kids look like they had a fantastic time.
Yeah,
they did.
It was a good time.
All right, catch Sandy's show right now on Bobo 89.1 FM, and we'll see you tomorrow for November 1st.
Wow.
Sounds good. OMG, I can't believe it's November the 1st. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday.
Peppermint, sorrel, ginger, beaver grass, or English. Get it ready. Your morning tea just got hotter.
Ooh, honey child.
On the cold, hard truth. Bobo 89.1 and Cayman's #1 talk show are bringing you morning talk like no one else. Monday Rewind, Impact Wednesdays, Caribbean Connections, and much more. Don't miss a beat with what's happening in the local community. Just keep sipping your tea.
What a mess.
Here's your host, live and direct from the Cayman Islands, Sandy Hill.
All right. Good morning, beautiful people. How are you guys doing this wonderful Monday morning? Happy Monday. We got a lot of news to cover. We are live and direct from the Cayman Islands. All right. Let me just send out my links. For some reason, my WhatsApp web app just isn't working today, and I don't even know what's going on. All right. Let me just see how best I can send this out to our groups this morning. The PC version isn't working. Obviously, it's still working on the phone. There was a little bit of an issue. I don't know if you guys noticed this on Friday with WhatsApp. Did anybody notice? It wasn't widespread outage, but it was like, sending messages and they weren't exactly going through. So we are here to give you the scoop. Let me just send this because if I don't, my group gets very upset with me if I don't send it out to them because they're like, we're just sitting here waiting for you to send us what's going on, what's happening. And then the second I send it, then they all tune in. All right. So good morning. You can always find us on Facebook, YouTube, Bobo 89.1 FM. And Bobo 89.1 FM actually has an online link as well. So if if it's easier to listen to that link when you get into the office, because some offices block social media, so you might not have access to YouTube, or you might not have access to Facebook. So don't worry, we got you covered. There's another link that you can use to listen to it online. That's a website link. So let me know if you need that link. And here I am on Halloween. I'm dressed as a bumblebee today. It's a virtual bumblebee. When I smile, it smiles. Good morning. Hello, everyone. All right. So we got Brother Tommy joining us this morning. Good morning, Tommy. We got Miss Vernita, who is here. Felicia is also got it locked. Sherry Ann, good morning to you. Barbara, I'm in the spirit of the season now. Although I feel like I probably should have picked something a bit more spooky, but I went with the bee. Yeah. Don't want to scare y'all. It's too early in the morning to scare you, right? All right, we have Miss Barbara, Vicky, Wee Wee's here. Carla has it locked. Good morning to Miss Carla. How are you? Watching from Maryland. Good morning. Stephen, watching from the UK. Miss Beulah's here. Odine, good morning to you. Marshall, joining us from North Carolina. Aliano, tuned in from Windsor Park. Good morning, Karen. Siobhan says, happy Monday to everyone. Cece McLaughlin is in the house. Dion is also here. And Miss Bonnie joining us from the beautiful district of East End. All right, my people, we got a lot to talk about, as you can see from the news recap this morning. Oh my gosh. The Monday Rewind segment was but I noticed there's a little bit of instability with my web browsers this morning. I noticed that both Chrome and Firefox have been kind of doing some weird stuff. All right, well, we'll do our best to keep the live stream going, honey child. Not even tech issues are going to stop it, because then you can just switch to radio. That's the beautiful thing about having more than one option. All right, so good morning to everyone. It was a super busy weekend, as you all have just heard. So we're going to do Monday Rewind. I'm going to talk to you guys about everything that happened over the weekend.
Time for Monday Rewind. The Cold Hard Truth's Monday Rewind show recaps the weekend's news and events so you don't miss a beat.
Don't miss out.
All the weekend's source, news, gossip, and well, it wouldn't be a weekend recap show without traffic accidents too. Cayman Marl Road is Cayman's #1 news source and has the island's hottest morning talk show.
It's the hottest.
Make sure you don't miss a beat with Monday Rewind.
Rewind.
Tune in every Monday from 7:30 a.m. on both YouTube and Facebook.
All right, good people. Let's get it. Let's get it. Somebody says my little bee outfit. They're like, bees sting. Well, we got a little bit of stinging news this morning. All right, where did we begin? All right, Friday night. Let's start at the top. I actually had a social weekend. Went out a couple times. Woohoo! Yay me! Celebrated a friend's birthday. She was turning the big 50. And so Friday, it was a bit unusual to see me out, but if you saw me out, that's what that was all about. I went and, she enjoyed a few birthday drinks, and I was there to usher in the birthday weekend and to have a good time. So she ended up getting her ears pierced at 50. Can you believe it? Oh my gosh, that was so funny. So she went to a proper tattoo artist, because supposedly they're the best ones to actually pierce your ears. You know how we, back in the day, just went to the mall and you got it done in the mall with a mall gun? That's how you did it. They say, no. The best people to pierce your ears for you are actually tattoo artists. And they do it with a degree of precision. And yeah, so she had that done. Just my apologies. I'm a bee with a frog in my throat. So yeah, she got that done, and we went out for a little bit, had some drinks and stuff like that. And then Saturday, well, let me tell you what else happened Friday night. So as I was sitting there at the table, I'm getting messages. Oh, the helicopter's up. I was like, oh, Lord Jesus, can we not just have one Friday where one weekend where the helicopter doesn't have to go up for anything serious? But of course, you know, these criminals don't care. So the helicopter was up and about. As it turns out, there was a robbery in Bordentown at Mostyn's gas station. Yes? Uh-huh. So they hit the poor little gas station. They always pick the little mom and pop shops. I'm like, why? They're the ones who are less likely to be able to take a hit financially. You know, it's just ridiculous. But anyway, I reckon that these criminals care about anything. So they robbed the gas station. According to the police, they took a quantity of cash, and it was 4 men, 3 armed. Sounds very familiar, I tell you. Sounds a whole lot like the same people from the incident a couple weekends ago by McRuss. Dark colored clothing, entered the store, made demands for cash and other items. So they made off with cash, liquor, and cigarettes in an unknown direction. So sounds like they were going to have a party over the weekend between drinking and smoking, I guess. I don't know why they keep stealing cigarettes. What's the deal with cigarettes? Is that for personal use? Is there some kind of black market for cigarettes in Cayman that I don't know anything about? I'm not sure. So anyway, that's what happened on Friday night. And the police were definitely looking for these armed men. The helicopter's up for quite some time. No information yet on any possible arrests. So now police, obviously these guys are hitting small gas stations, mom and pop stores. So, you know, maybe y'all need to have some unmarked vehicles and unmarked, you know, individuals out and about in the community so that we can try to grab these guys. I mean, listen, the outer districts are really not that big, like Bordentown, East End, North Side, even Prospect. How many mom and pop stores are there between Georgetown and the outer districts? Have someone just lingering in the vicinity. I'm telling y'all how to maybe nab these guys, right? You know, hang out, have an armed unit in the store, but unseen, just hanging out in the back. So that when they come in, maybe you got a little panic button that you can give these guys and they can press that, and then you can be on the scene literally as it's happening. So that happened. And then Saturday morning, I got up bright and early at the crack of dawn, not exactly 6 o'clock. And I went and spent some time with some young folks. Now, you guys might have seen this. This was super cool. Listen, I am really proud of young people when they do the right thing. And so many times they do the right thing and they don't get the recognition because the ones who are out there doing the wrong thing are the ones who steal their thunder and their glory. And they're the ones who get all the recognition for always, you know, running away, being in trouble, using police resources, and all that good stuff. And it is quite unfortunate that that happens because, you know, I think that we definitely need to spend more time encouraging our young people who are doing the right thing to continue to do so and reward them, to show them that in life, when you stay on the straight and narrow path, there will be rewards for your hard work. So Coach Corey gets up every single morning with these young kids. They're up at 5 o'clock every morning going to practice their basketball skills before they go to school. 5 o'clock in the morning. Listen, I'm not even getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to work out. So my hat's off to them for being dedicated and for doing such an amazing job. So the same girlfriend who was celebrating her birthday, she has been doing a little bit of, giving back to the community. So she takes breakfast for these kids on Saturday. And she invited me the weekend before, but girl, I could not get out of bed the weekend before. I was so tired. After my little frog incident, I told y'all there's a frog. Did I tell y'all there's a frog in my room, and that caused me to not sleep in my usual bed? So anyway, so she invited me to tag along, and I said, you know what? Yes, I'm going to do that. I want to see these young people. I want to encourage them as much as, we all can. And so they were really lovely, took them something, a little bite to eat. And, I had it easy because I only bought the juice. Next week, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make them some of my world famous brownies, y'all. I bet you they'd love those. So let me show you who these young people are. If you see them out and about, or maybe they're your neighbors or your niece and nephews or whatever, give them a pat on the back. Tell them that you saw them in Cayman Mall Road and that they must continue on this positive path. So there they are, all with big smiles on their faces. There's one young man in the back who was kind of hiding a little bit. He was a bit shy. But yes, and then the funny thing is I got to practice my basketball skills a little bit. Now, I'm going to put the video up a little bit later on today. And I don't want y'all laughing at me because I've never played basketball in my life. So, they gave me the basketball, and one young man said, okay, Miss Sandy, this is how you do it. And I was like, okay. He told me how to position my hand on the ball because, there's a technique to all of this. He said, you put your left hand this side, your right hand this side. I was like, okay. So I took his advice and missed a couple. And then Coach Corey said, listen, it's all about technique. You got to make sure the feet are done a particular way. And, you got to kind of step into it a little bit and bend the knees. And I was like, all right. I'm going to get it. And sure enough, I made a basket. What do you know? There's hope for all of us. So that was pretty cool. I really appreciate them taking a few minutes to show me some basketball skills. I was able to get it in the hoop, all good stuff. And then after that, they were off to the beach to then do some workouts and have a little bit of fun with these inflatable devices. And of course, they have to put up the equipment with Coach Corey. And they were out there pulling the equipment out. And, I'm going to put some video footage up a bit later on. So they had a really active weekend. But every single week, they are being kept busy. One young man has actually lost a substantial amount of weight because he was a little bit overweight. And he, as a result of playing basketball and being dedicated, has lost like 100 pounds. So I'm like, wow. So, this physical activity, as you guys know, is really good for children in more ways than one. They get the physical benefits of, getting a good workout. They get the benefits of working as part of a team. They get the discipline of being committed, getting up every single morning, rise or shine, 6 days a week. They're up at 5 o'clock at the crack of dawn. I think on Saturdays, they might get up a little bit later on, but they're at the crack of dawn. They're up and they are really dedicated to doing their part. So there are people throughout the week who donate breakfasts. Waffle Monkeys. Is Scott in the house? Is Scott here yet this morning? I'm not sure if he's here yet, but Waffle Monkeys donates breakfast to them 1 day, my apologies, out of the week as well. And so, it's all about us as a community ensuring that we come together and do our little part. And, exactly what we need to do. So congratulations again to these young people. Keep up the good work. Really, really impressed with you all, and we'll continue to check in. And I feel like that's going to be my Saturday routine now. They'll continue to invite me to come out and help out whenever I can. So Sky says, no brownies. Coach won't invite you back. I know, right? Brownies for breakfast. Oh, Lord. But hey, you can hang on to the brownies and have it for a mid-afternoon snack. But that was super cool. So then that was then we went to the beach. We did I give them a couple of them a ride to the beach, and then that was perfect because I got to check out the NORCECA beach volleyball tour that was here. So our Cayman team was up first. Cayman women was playing USA. Of course, the USA beat them because listen, volleyball is a serious sport. Now I played a little bit of volleyball back in the day in university. And it is a hell of a workout. Don't let it fool you now. It might look like fun, but volleyball is hey, you got to be fit to play volleyball. And I was at USF, and we actually had a volleyball team because there was a young lady who lived on, when I was a resident assistant, she was one of my residents on my floor, and beautiful young lady, and she was on the volleyball team. And I remember her always, putting on her little volleyball gear and going to practice for matches and so on. So all of these events require a degree of practice. By the way, while we were at the John Gray High School gymnasium, I saw the little ones, like little ones, there for the netball practice. Oh, they were so cute. Now, you guys know, as someone who grew up in the States, I'm not really all that familiar with netball. It looks like the softer version of a basketball for people who don't want to play basketball. I'm not sure. But I guess it's a whole other sport unto its own. So they were there, and I got some contact information for the netball coach because I'm thinking, oh, maybe this is something that my little 6-year-old might be interested in. I'm not sure yet. But we're going to introduce her to everything, and then she can kind of see what's going to stick as far as an interest. So that was pretty cool to see the little ones out there also practicing their little ball skills and so on. So what do you know? Netball. All right. So the NORCECA team, like I said, they were out early. At that point, it wasn't too hot. There was still a little bit of a breeze. And so, these teams were playing. They had a men's court and a women's court, and the men were playing. I think it was Canada and, was it Aruba? Some Caribbean country was playing on the men's. And then they had the women was the USA and Cayman women. And it was good to watch. Someone actually sent me some footage as well of the of like an aerial view of it. So I'm going to put that up later on because that was pretty cool to see it from a particular angle. So so the NORCECA, and then I had a really busy Saturday. Oh my gosh, I was running up and down all over the place. And then I stopped by the Spook Fest, which was a DMS sponsored event by the darts, what's it called now? The little park where they go and play softball, the dart. It's not called the softball park, the dart. I'll have to look that one up. Anyway, so I went by there for a bit, checked out the Spook Fest again, a nice, healthy environment and fun activities for the kids. There was quite a bit for them to do. They had like the sack racing, where they get in the little sack and they race each other. They had, all sorts of stuff that they were doing. Arts and crafts. They had little throw the ball in the little hole, whatever that game's called. Lots of fun activities and stuff to do. So eventful Saturday. If you were bored, that's your fault because there was a lot going on. And big shout out, by the way, to the staff at the Ritz. I went, my girlfriend said, it's her birthday weekend. She gets to do whatever she wants. So she's like, let's go for breakfast. She's got her sister visiting. She said, let's go for breakfast and grab some, let's go have a nice little breakfast. I was like, all right, where are we going? And we ended up going to the Ritz, 7 at the Ritz. And I have actually never been there, believe it or not. One young lady said to me, she works there, but she's like, oh, I thought you are always talking about our overnight oats. And I said, well, I go to the coffee shop and pick up overnight oats, but I don't actually, I've never been in here before. And they were all super, super welcoming. So big shout out to the staff. In fact, when I was at the grocery store a little bit later on, a gentleman said to me, oh, I know that you were there. I heard you were there, but I was working on the outside. And so unfortunately, I didn't get to see him, but he knew that it's like everybody knew that I was there having breakfast. The breakfast was good. I had a little omelet and a few other little things. Very, very delicious. Go try it if you haven't tried it before. Try everything once. Marshall, good morning. Good morning to Lily Boo. Lavana's in the house. Good morning to Avis. Olivia says good morning to everyone. KK says they ain't gonna find them either. They're looking for that moment, but they ain't looking no other time. Well, you know what? I'm a firm believer in that, as criminals, their time will come. There will always be a way that they're going to get caught or something worse. So I hope that they certainly keep that in mind. And in the meantime, you are hurting the Cayman Islands. I guess you guys don't care. You're hurting small businesses. You are scaring people to death when you come into their place of work with a firearm. And it's just not cool. And I think that the legislators need to do a bit more. Anyone who obviously a firearm offense is like 10 years, right? You go to jail for anywhere from 7 to 10 years, depending on if you admit the offense. I think that they need to add on an additional aggravated incident. It's not like you were just found with a firearm. You were committing it, using it in the commission of a crime. And honestly, that should be at least an additional 10 years right there. So, a lot of times they have these sentences running concurrently, they run together. No. We're going to give you 10 years for the firearm offense, right? Add on another 10 years as an additional aggravated offense because you've used the firearm in the commission of a crime. And I don't care if it's an imitation firearm or not, send these suckers to jail for a good 20 years. And send a very clear message. There was the one the other day where the guy got, how much did he end up getting for the firearm offense? That was Brandon Leslie. And the judge, rightfully so, looked for every possibility to throw the book at him. I mean, he's a seasoned criminal. This is Matthew Leslie's brother. And obviously, the judge was like, okay, this is not your first time at the rodeo. You were in a U.S. jail for importation of guns into this country, attempting to do that. They nabbed you. You spent time in jail there. Still hasn't learned a lesson. So he got 16 years for a bar shootout. And that's because, he used the weapon in a situation where other people could have been injured and so on. But I think it should be a minimum of 20 years just for finding it or using it in the commission of a crime, whether you actually discharged it. Now, if you discharge it, tag on even more time. Like, this is the kind of sentencing that these guys should be getting, so that we're actually taking them off the streets and we're sending a very, very clear message that if you are caught, with a firearm in the commission of an offense, you're going to jail for a long, long time. Let's stop playing around with these guys. Let's put some backative, as people would say, into the legislation so that the judges don't have to sit there and go, oh, well, I would love to be able to send you away for a longer time, but the law does not permit me to do so. All right, KK said that it should be mandatory that places have a panic button. Well, but geez, peace. I mean, is common sense mandatory these days? Because quite honestly, common sense should dictate that if you are operating a business where, cash is involved, and that's all businesses pretty much, right? You should really have certain security measures in place. These are not the islands that time forgot, and certainly the criminals have not forgotten us. So take steps to protect your staff. And I think the fact that certain businesses are targeted more than once is illustrative of the point that the criminals know that you're an easy target. If you have been robbed more than once, believe me, the criminals know how easy it is to get in and out. And so you have got to take steps to not make it as easy. So yes, talk to your neighborhood police officer, talk to security companies that can give you advice on how to, thank you. Someone said Field of Dreams. Yes, that's where it was. It's the Dart Field of Dreams. I think they've sponsored quite a bit of they've sponsored the park. Yes. Let me see here. Let's see. All right. So yes, by all means. Okay. All right. So anyway, yes. So, just want to make it, I was just checking a story here I'm going to tell you guys about in a second. So, yeah, by all means, try to put in some security measures. It protects your staff. It protects your employees, staff and employees, and it protects your customers as well. So really, really appreciate it. All right. Let me just see here. What else we got coming in? All right. So hopefully they'll get them off the streets quickly. And if you know who is involved, as is often the case, somebody knows something, call the authorities, send a tip to the 800 number. The police and the authorities need to do a better job as it comes to promoting, these types of, like, people are afraid. Oh, I don't know if the 800 number is toll free. Can they trace me? It's because the police and whoever else sponsors that Crime Stoppers situation doesn't have the right messaging around that. Do y'all really need me to tell you how to market your stuff as NPOs and stuff? Come on now, get it together. It's not rocket science, but y'all need to start encouraging people to use that number. Half the time, I don't even know if the website works, but you should have PSAs running all the time. Get organizations. There are companies that will sponsor, promotions for the number. Y'all get money for crime fighting and all this kind of stuff. Put it to good use in some of these community building components of trying to fight crime, because trust me, the more you have the community on board who can help you, the quicker you can solve a lot of these crimes, because people in the community know a lot. Believe me, because they're telling me a lot of stuff. And you just have to get them to trust the police more. And unfortunately, they do not trust the police. 936 Bobo is the phone number. If you'd like to call in, please feel free to call at any time. Honey, chill. Let me make sure the phone line is connected. Bluetooth is connected. Looks like we are good to go. Miss Melita, good morning. She says, what is I wake up to this morning, Sandy? This is my Halloween costume. Happy Halloween. I'm dressed as a bumblebee, bringing you a little sting in your life on a Monday morning. Sandra says, so sad all the jobs gone to permits. I wouldn't say all the jobs, but we can certainly talk about which ones. Well, we've created an economic situation, Sandra, where we have more jobs than we have people. And that's a fact, which means for the people who actually want to work, there shouldn't be such a thing as unemployment. But yet there remains a degree of unemployment. And there also remains a degree of people who want the paycheck, but don't necessarily want to work for it. So there's a couple things going on here. It's not a one-sided situation by any stretch of the imagination. Carla says, a frog, I would move. Yeah, it was in my room, Carla, right by my side of the bed. And good old hubby was already sleeping, and I woke him up. And he's like, just go to bed. What's a frog going to do? I'm like, honey, chill. A frog jumping at me when I'm sleeping would give me a literal heart attack. So I'm not about that life. So I went and slept in the room with my daughter instead. And it was not the best night's sleep. So the next day I was so tired. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm tired. Yeah, listen, if you're a frog, scorpion, cockroach, any insects, you don't have 2 legs or 4 legs, meaning you're a cat or dog, don't come into my house. Because you and I are not going to be able to stay in the same house together. You want to hear a funny thing? We have a neighborhood cat. I'm going to tell you all this story this morning. I swear this cat thinks that it's a dog. So last week, Thursday night, I got home. We went out somewhere. Oh, we got a caller. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
How are you, Sandra? Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. I was just going to tell my little cat story. How are you?
Well, yeah, I'm fine, thank you. Well, since Halloween is about, the ghosts and the this and that and so on, somebody once told me, well, Cayman should not be celebrating that because Cayman, under its constitution and in real life, is a Christian nation. Now, I didn't want to engage this. I didn't want to engage this person. I said, well, maybe that is something that can be thought about. Another way to look at it is, of course, that it's just a little bit of fun in a sense, but there are some people who are uncomfortable about that. I just thought that I should mention that as sort of like my opening gambit.
Throw out a little controversy to get us started this Monday.
Exactly.
No problem.
Now you were talking about sentences. I mean, sentences of people for crimes is always a balancing act. And all my years of writing legislation, a lot of times we would not agree. Like there will be some of us who are looking at the issue more like, hey, okay, we want to be to deter people, but we do not want to sort of like over punish people and so forth. And so you wind up sometimes in a case where you say, well, the judge says, well, no, I wish I could give you more, like you were talking about. And then sometimes you find the judge saying, I wish there was no minimum here, then I could give you less. I'll just give you an example of this from my experience. There's a country where when corruption was coming in, they said the minimum for corruption should be 5 years. Okay? Now, the first person they caught under that law was somebody who was trying to pay somebody $50, a police officer, so that they wouldn't charge them with careless driving or wrong parking. There was no third party involved. And they wanted to pay. They said, guy, I'm a busy person, I'm a businessman, here's $50. Instead of you ticketing me, please. They caught that guy. And he went to jail for 5 years. So it became a controversial issue. They had to amend the law to say, okay, there's no minimum for the first, but you get a minimum for the second. So, but otherwise, not to disagree with what you are saying. It's just that we have to be careful to ensure that in some cases, yes, we need minimum sentences. In some other cases, we just need to be a little bit careful. But I don't know, Sandra, do I have 1 minute to say something about legal practitioners bill?
Yeah, sure.
Well, first of all, my thanks go out to Alric Lindsay, who put out some videos explaining the legal practitioners bill. I think that's very, very important. And a lot of what he has said that I agree with.
But you see, are these recent videos? Like recently?
These are recent ones that you...
Okay.
Recent, like in the last couple of days, like 4 or 5 days.
Okay.
Yeah, like anyway, within the week, yeah. You see, the legal services bill, to me, it sums up some of the problems about how legislation is prepared in the Cayman Islands. Sometimes the private sector is overly involved. Okay, like this bill, I examined it in great detail. It's now about the new bill is about 49 pages long. The one before this one was about 110 pages long. I commented on that in great detail, and I sent my comments to the AG. And then the one before that was about 50 pages as well. First of all, it was never paid for by government. The people who wrote this bill was somebody in the private sector who was paid by private lawyers. And from the very beginning, that's a very difficult sign, because from the very beginning, you know that they have vested interests. But let me comment on two specific issues. The appointment of the disciplinary body. There is a disciplinary council there. There is a council which deals with the general matters of registration, setting out the rules, and so on. And then there is also a disciplinary appeals tribunal. The appointments for those two bodies leave a lot to be desired. First thing, Alric has pointed out that he doesn't think that the Chief Justice and the Attorney General should be there. And I agree with him 100%. But more than that, these bodies, everybody on both of these bodies is a lawyer. Everybody. Everybody is a lawyer. There's one or two requirements for a non-practicing lawyer, but they are all lawyers. That doesn't work. You know how it should be, Sandra, is like this. There should be 3 categories of members on both of them. One, there should be lawyers, no judges. Don't put judges there, because once a judge agrees with a decision, when it goes to court, you're just wasting time. But the judges will try to agree with him. No judges first. Have lawyers there as a first group. Second category, like professionals, like engineers, doctors, architects, surveyors, those kinds of people. Then the third category should be just members of the public. These are people, some of whom may never even have finished high school or maybe never went to university, but they are important members in the community who understand. Sometimes they run businesses, they might be partially in politics. Members of the public, because at the end of the day, when you have a disciplinary system for judges, you are trying to protect the public. So how do you leave out the public? Okay. Now, I can give you an example, for example, of the Judicial Council in Ontario. This is the one that deals with the disciplining of judges in Ontario. It's got 12 people. Of those 12 people, 4 of them are members of the public, just members of the public. And that's very, very important. I mean, let me stop there. There's so much that can be discussed on this, but I just thought, let me drop those 2 points. And then another time, might be able to discuss it in greater detail. Otherwise, I'll need 1 hour or 2 hours. But otherwise, that's all for today.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, folks. 936-BOBO is the telephone number if you'd like to call in. So some interesting points made there by the caller. Thank you so much for those. I wasn't aware of those videos that Alric made, so perhaps Alric might reach out. I think Alric is a little bit conflicted these days because he is doing some work for Loop, so he can't just come on a CMR platform where the issues would be probably more appropriately discussed in terms of the wider community, but we'll see. I hadn't seen the videos, so I appreciate the caller letting me know that they are out there somewhere. All right, good morning, Roni. How are you? Says keep up the good shows. Appreciate it. So, I think the caller is absolutely right that there has to be some degree of balance when it comes to a lot of these things. And without a doubt, sentencing, you don't want sentencing to necessarily be too heavy, but at the same time, I'm not so sure that the sentencing that we have in place serves as a deterrence. I think for serious crime, we need to send a very, very clear message. It's just like for sentencing for sexual offenses and offenses against children. Lord have mercy, they are nowhere near what they need to be to serve as a deterrence. Even the US gets it more right than we do. They tend to send people, you get caught with child porn, you are going away for a really long time, as it should be, because that is one of the, what do we call crimes that are, there's an actual, what's the word for it? The last caller would have been able to help me out, but there's like crimes that are kind of precursors, if you will, to committing more serious offenses. And that is one of them. Once you get into, you find child porn interesting and you want to be looking at, children being abused and so on, you encourage a particular market that is absolutely destructive to children. And you then encourage these other crimes to be committed, even if you're not directly a part of it. The fact that you are, a customer, if you were a client, encourages the creation of the material. So Perla, good morning. She says, what's up with the bee? This is my Halloween costume. She says it's cute. KK says, I believe Waffle Monkeys is a sponsor for the basketball club. Yeah, I think it's the same team. I mean, they probably sponsor more than one group of kids. I'm not really sure, but definitely these young people get sponsored once a week by Waffle Monkeys. And I thought, ooh la la, that must be lots of fun. All right, so netball and football for KK. Y'all, what's wrong with the bee today? It's Halloween. Enjoy the bee look. JD says that he used to play volleyball by the Magnolia Courts at USF too. Hey, he put up his little bull sign. You're a bull too? Aw. Alumni of USF. There's a lot of us all over the place. Wonderful. When I was at USF, I was into tennis, and I think I played a little bit of squash, but I more got into squash actually when I moved back to Cayman. So I used to go play tennis all the time. My boyfriend at the time was a tennis player, so we used to go get exercise and play tennis, and we used to walk around the track and just get exercise that way. And I used to ride my bicycle because I didn't have a car, so I used to ride up and down the campus on a little bicycle. Perla says she loves volleyball. She's a little bit short for it. Yeah, the good volleyball players are a little bit taller, I must admit, because then they have the arm reach where they can just, bam, slam that on the court. And it's skill. It's quite a bit of skill because you got to set it up just right. But for those of us who just play casually, it's a lot of fun game. Yes, Raymond, this is my Halloween costume today. I could put on something a little bit scarier. I told you guys Gigi went as she's going to be what's it called now? She is going to be a vampire for the day. So she's got her vampire teeth and everything. She was so excited. Morning, Scott from Waffle Monkeys. How are you? Good to see you. Carla is here. Tressa says, good morning. Happy Monday to everyone. Miss Sylvia says, cool, Sandy. Would love an opportunity to talk about our upcoming youth workshop. You can certainly call in if you'd like. Or you can come on, whatever you'd like. You have to let me know, though, because sometimes we do have other people who are pre-scheduled. So you got to just reach out and we will arrange it. Yes? All right. So we've got Marshall here saying, I totally agree. They should make the penalties a lot stiffer for firearm offenses when it includes a robbery. And you know what else? Somebody else, I think that was KK, that was saying that when it comes to what employers can do, that you can even put a dye pack in the bag. Listen, y'all need to start really thinking like a criminal, how to catch a thief, how to catch a robber, how to catch a criminal. There are things that you can do, and you need to do drills with staff. You need to prepare them because unfortunately, no person is ever prepared fully for an armed robbery. But if you've been through drills, if you've sent your staff to, I'm sure the security companies can provide you with training. They can install panic buttons. So the second it happens, those few minutes, you press a panic button. And sometimes the panic button shouldn't be your hand because the criminal's like, put your hands up, and they're watching your hands. It can be a little foot button that you just discreetly press. This is the 21st century, folks. We have technology, cameras that should be monitored off-site during certain hours. These are just some suggestions. Listen, if I own a cash-based business, I'm telling y'all, these are some of the considerations that you really got to take in place. You should have smart cameras that can detect certain things that are happening in your business. And when they detect certain things, then they can alert a call center or they can alert the boss or whatever that, hey, a firearm has just picked up. Surely AI, artificial intelligence, is that smart in this day and age. And if the technology isn't out there yet, can we have an Elon Musk stop wasting time with Twitter and get back to some real creative genius work and develop the AI software for this sort of stuff? Because it's not that far-fetched. It's really not that hard to do. That if it detects something that even looks like a gun, it is in a position to alert the authorities immediately. Invest, research. If you're a business owner, research these things and invest in them. I have sat in court and seen staff that have been traumatized beyond belief. I mean, literally, when they start recalling what happened to them during a robbery, they burst into tears and they're still suffering from PTSD, which is a real thing. I don't know how much counseling their employers got them, but it's just shocking what something like this does to a person. Good morning, Denny.
Morning.
How can we help you this morning?
You don't think that the penalties for firearm offenses are harsh enough?
No.
Well,
not in the commission of a crime. If you're just caught with a firearm, 10 years is fine. But when you've committed a robbery with a firearm, you've gone and shot up a nightclub with a firearm, there are other things. I mean, I think that takes it to another level.
But my question is, what should the sentence be?
I just told you, if you were listening, another 10 years. If you commit a crime with a firearm, add on another 10 years.
I was.
And I don't mean concurrently, to run concurrently.
No, I am listening, but you do realize that it's that you can get 20 years in prison for firearm. That is the minimum.
Well, no one's ever getting the 20. I mean, look at what it took. Let me put it this way. Look at what it took to elevate someone to get 16 years, right? Let's just look at this Brandon Leslie case. It took him going into Glow Bar off of Shedding Road and spraying the place with a gun to get another 6 years added on to the minimum 10.
That's not a problem of the law. That's a problem of the judge.
No, it's not. The guidelines the guidelines that are there wouldn't allow a judge to do much more than what it is that you're seeing. I think the law needs to step it up a little bit.
You can get 20 years for a firearm offense.
You show me anybody who's gotten 20 years for firearm offense, because the guidelines don't allow it. So what I'm saying is, knowing that the guidelines are so minimal for all the other stuff, you need to bump it up with the minimum sentences.
Talking about?
The only guidelines that they use, which are normally the ones coming out of the UK, because we don't have any real sentencing guidelines hardly of our own. So we have to rely on
sentencing. So we have a law that says that they can get 20 years, but that somebody in the UK said that you can't give them 20 years. Is that what's happening?
Now, what I'm saying is, hold on a second. I'm going to pull up the sentencing guidelines here. So sentencing guidelines, Cayman Islands Judicial Administration, violent offenses. Do they have a separate one for firearms? Oh, yes. So violent offenses, including murder, attempted murder, manslaughter. I don't see firearm offenses here.
You can get 20 years according to the law, just for simply importing an unlawful firearm. You can get not only 20 years, but you can also have a fine, because what it says is 20 years and $100,000 fine. But of course, they write that as the maximum, so the court can give you up to that amount. But don't say that the law doesn't allow it. It allows it. If the UK is stepping in and saying, well, your law is too strict, that's the UK's causing the problem. But the firearms law allows for up to 20 years and $100,000 fine.
Well, I don't want to erroneously blame this on the UK. I think what has happened is the sentencing guidelines that are there have been impacted by, the UK law, probably to some extent, where our legislation doesn't really specify certain things. So
of course it does.
I'm trying to find it in relation to firearm offenses, but I don't see that under the violent offenses. I'm not sure where they've got that hidden, in which document. We probably have
just for them. Forget about violence. Just the mere unlawful importation of an unlicensed firearm can in and of itself attract a fine up to $100,000, and it doesn't say and 20 years, up to 20 years in prison. Now, what the judge decides to give them that's on the judge, and that's on whoever is writing these guidelines you talk about. But I'm telling you what the law says. It can be at 20 years and 100,000 just for mere importation. Forget about violence. That is extra.
All right.
You read Section 3 of the law, you'll see it clear as day. So
thank you very much.
I'm just saying don't blame the law. It's not the law in this particular case.
All right. Appreciate it.
All right, bye.
And I still think that we need minimum sentences. Damien says Glocks can be detected. I mean, I don't know, but I mean, come on now. In this day and age, modern technology, it has to be. I mean, they listen. We have cameras around the place that can detect if it's a person, if it's a vehicle, if it's, if the technology isn't there yet, Damien, it can't be that it's that difficult. It should be the case that it's something that can be added on as a feature. So somebody look into it. Maybe that's where you can make your $1 million. Y'all sitting down here every day listening to me. Jonathan and Damien, looking for business ideas? Go develop some AI and sell this to your local clients. You'd be surprised who would love that integrated into whatever software is available for these camera systems. So Damien says it's 20 years and 80,000 a year northward per 20 years at 80,000 a year and northward per person. The money could be spent on protection from them being imported or borders and officers. Well, without a doubt, crime is not a linear situation. The prevention of crime and the fighting of crime is not linear. So you need decent prisons. You need rehabilitation programs, most importantly for your own citizens. But, we import a lot of citizens as well that aren't going anywhere when they come out of jail. Y'all need to remember that. We need proper border control. So it is multifaceted. There's no singular answer and there's no singular response. Yes, it's not cheap to keep someone incarcerated, especially when you let them out and they return to a life of crime. You've essentially just, babysat them for the 15 or 10 years or whatever that they've been in there for. So giving them a skill set while they're in there, even if they are long-serving prisoners, would be very, very useful so that when they come out, they're less likely to want to return to a life of crime. And then you also have to accept that some people, unfortunately, because you lost them at the prevention stage, that's where the bulk of the money should be spent on trying to prevent people from going down this life of crime. And, that can certainly be a huge impact as well. Investing in programs to keep our young people busy and away from crime and demonstrating to them that the life of crime, whether it's robbing people, raping people, whatever, is not a life that they should be trying to esteem to. So Damien makes the point. He says to kill a tree, kill the roots, not chop the branches. Mary says, thanks, Denny. With that being said, it's at the discretion of the judge, but the law is there for up to 20 years and a fine of $100,000. But again, the sentencing guidelines are what actually guides these judges. So there's a lot of details that are involved in sentencing someone. So for example, they look at the degree of harm, culpability, and there are things that they have to look at. So, saying that, oh yeah, the law allows me to sentence you for 20 years because you were caught with a firearm, where the degree of harm, the pre-planning, the culpability, all those things were very low, means that would be thrown out of court. So this is where understanding a little bit more about the law than just what, the legislation simply says this, but the worst possible cases will get the higher end, as Justice Philip St. John Stevens said in this case. This elevated it. He used a semi-automatic weapon. He had no legitimate purpose for even having that type of a weapon. So he talked about the degree of harm being higher because of the type of weapon it was. The way that he went about, utilizing the weapon and doing it in a public place. The judge talked about the degree of bravado that was used. So there's certain things within criminal law that they have to look at. Culpability, harm, and I forget what the other thing is that they always talk about, that will elevate it to a higher. So it's not just a judge sitting there going, oh, well, yes, I can give this person 20 years because they have a firearm. No, they have to look at the specific circumstances, and both sides will argue, well, the degree of culpability is, very low. It's A, B, 1A, whatever. I mean, y'all need to go to court sometime and sit down and listen to how the sentencing guidelines are actually utilized. That is why mandatory sentences are helpful in a way. And as Mr. Baliki said, of course, you don't necessarily want to be heavy-handed with mandatory because you always have unintended consequences. So does the guy who, bribe an officer for $50, does he deserve to go to jail for the same amount of time that someone who underwent a bribery for, $1 million? Most people would say no because of the amount, and that makes a difference. And so judges don't tend to like mandatory sentences because it does, or minimum sentences, because it binds them in a way that you will always find an exception where this case just doesn't make any sense. to send this person to jail for that amount of time. And that's why they don't like it. But I do think that if you draft the legislation properly, you can avoid having, maybe less than 1% of a case that comes up like that. And hey, sometimes you just get caught in a situation and you're going to go down with it. So why don't we now talk about the Bruce Blake case? Before we get to Bruce Blake, because that's going to take a little bit more time. We got Canova Watson, Bruce Blake. Let's talk about that case, because that's one of those examples, again, where we have Bruce Blake, who didn't actually gain financially from this situation at all. And yet he's going to jail. Got a pregnant wife and a young child in his 50s, never committed a crime before, but it looks like he's going to jail. And it is what it is. Very, very sad situation. All right. Let me just read a few of your comments this morning. So, okay, let's talk about this other case before we get to that. Somebody says, why is it that people who are caught with firearms and ammo at the airport only get a fine? And I've always wondered this, and I don't understand it, because I think that they should be going to jail. Even the guy, remember the one guy who owned the Hurricane Windows business or whatever, the American guy, he ran from the jurisdiction and was building a house in Cayman Brac. He didn't get no jail time. So I do think that exceptions are found for foreigners who say that they left an ammunition. Oh yeah, I forgot the Uzi in the suitcase kind of excuse. They get a fine and that's it. We need to only send one of them to jail once. And believe you me, the water would be I was just reading a message. The message would be very, very clear that this isn't going to happen again. Send one American to jail. It would make international news, and they would stop conveniently forgetting ammunition and firearms in their luggage when they travel to this jurisdiction. You go do it somewhere else. Isn't it funny how they don't forget to do that when they're going to other Arab countries and stuff like that? You never hear of that happening. Speaking of when you travel to other countries, what's the basketball young lady called? She appealed her case in Russia, and guess what? She's still going to be in jail. She lost her appeal, and she will be remaining in a Russian prison for 9 years, unless, I guess, diplomatically, the Russians and the US can somehow do something about releasing her early. 9 years for what was it? What did she have? Some CBC oil or CBC? Was it CBC? CBD oil on her. Yep, she lost her appeal last week. Brittany Griner was appealing her 9-year sentence for drug possession, and she lost it. Okay, the point I'm making here is make these same Americans go there talking foolishness about, oh yeah, sorry, Russia, we just decided to bring in a firearm. Yeah, you go to jail. So I think that, there's something to be learned for that. Listen to this as an aside to this Brittany Griner story. They said that she reportedly turned down the opportunity to play basketball in prison because it's too painful to practice. So the Russians actually want her to play basketball in prison? What the hell? Maybe, she needs to think strategically here, though. Maybe this is her out. Because, them Russians, they don't really care too much about the rules themselves. They're just trying to prove a point. She says that she has access to hoop at the prison where she's being held, but she declined her attorney's offer to bring her a basketball, suggesting that it was too painful for her to play the sport she loves under such dire circumstances. She says, maybe if I'm here longer, but not now. What a mess. Poor her. She got a lot of time to practice because what else is there to do in prison? However, what I would suggest to her, maybe try to work a little deal with the Russians. Like, listen, I'll practice, stay at the top of my game. You know, I'm sure there's a summer Olympics right around the corner with basketball. I will help the Russians take the gold medal from the Americans, whoever. I wonder if Russia will participate in the next. Will they be allowed in the next Olympics? Maybe she could work out a little deal where, you know, she's able to help them win something in the world of basketball, be a coach for them or something, and they might let her out a little bit early. So we'll see. N.A. Smith says there are more important things to talk about that are criminal in Russia. Well, N.A., you must have just tuned in and missed the entire show that has been going on for the last hour, because we've been talking about important things, including robberies in the Cayman Islands, sentencing guidelines, how employers can do more to protect their workers and to potentially even assist the police in apprehending some of these guys if they had proper protocols in place and proper systems in place during a robbery. So did you just arrive and coming to a conclusion within 30 seconds of listening to the show? Come on now, stick with the program. All right, folks, keeping it moving. So on Friday, one of the other bits of information that came in right around 11 o'clock or so was that MP for Boddentown West, Dwayne John Seymour, was in an accident that took down a light pole. Ooh, honey chill. So we posted up that an MP had been in an accident, and we were trying to do some fact finding. Now, I had to laugh at some of these progressive people, because you know they all upset with John at the moment, because although he was in talks with them, according to my sources, he was. They couldn't get him to flip in the end, and so they're all upset. They're all salty with him for not leaving the PAC government. And in fact, he doubled down and brought a motion saying that he supported the PAC government and the things that they'd been doing, and essentially telling the progressives that it's time for them to move on and let go of the fact that they've lost the election. Well, their members were commenting on the post about, oh, how you not named the MP yet, blah, blah, blah. I was like, number one, y'all don't write stories, so you don't know that I need more than just the one line to put in a story. Number two, I had reached out to multiple sources, including the police, John himself, and others to ascertain what had actually taken place at the scene. Y'all just think that I can't even pay y'all no mind. You know, if y'all could write stories, then you'd be doing this, I suppose, at the end of the day. Right, Fidel Castro? You'd be running Ma Road if you knew what you were actually talking about. Oh, well, you didn't leave him because he one of your friends. John. Y'all are so crazy. Y'all are really crazy. Really? Ay. Anyway, we finally got some of the answers. We've not heard anything from the police as yet. They've actually not said anything. But we spoke to Mr. Seymour himself. He says that he was leaving his office and he was heading home and he was just tired. He also confirmed that he instructed his friends or whoever was at the scene to call the police, and they did. And the police arrived, and this is what he's quoted as saying, the police arrived and asked the relevant questions and went about doing their job, including ensuring that the car didn't catch fire. So apparently he took out a light pole, and I think CUC was on the scene trying to replace that light pole as quickly as possible. So some people are speculating, oh, is this a case of DUI? Was he drinking? Is it this? Is it that? I wasn't certainly at the scene, so I wouldn't know any of those things. And who at the scene could definitively say if that was the case or not? Well, it would be the police. And we had reached out for them for a comment, and we've not received any comment for them. Now, quite interestingly enough, sources also revealed that the premier showed up. Now, let me show you and demonstrate to you how stories go at times when they're not necessarily accurate. So someone claimed that the premier showed up at the scene and whisked him away, drove him away. He's Bordentown East? I thought he's Bordentown West. He's not Bordentown West? What does the story say? Does the story say Bordentown East? Let me see here now. Bordentown. Yes, East. My apologies. You're right. Because CMR website says East. So we would have looked it up and confirmed before that was printed. All right. So yes, the premier showed up on his own accord when he heard what happened. It wasn't a situation where John Jen called him and said, oh boy, you better come and help me out. Yeah, I need a ride. He showed up on his own accord. He was not called. But it seems like the premier was trying to keep a close eye on everything. So he showed up to ensure, number one, that I guess the MP was safe and kind of ascertain for himself what was happening at the scene. But one version of the story was that, oh, well, he showed up and whisked him away. And that is not what happened at all. He stayed there. The police arrived, did their job. And also the tow truck and stuff arrived, and he waited till all of that was completed before leaving the scene. Now, there's only one person and one individual. Mr. Seymour said he was tired, but the only people that can confirm whether he was tired or whether it was something else would be the authorities. That's their job. And that's why we took the time, Fidel and Curtis, pay attention now, because this is how proper journalism is done. We took the time to reach out to them, gave them a little bit of time to respond. And I can tell you they have not yet. I can check emails this morning, but as of showtime this morning, they had not yet responded in relation to our query at all. So until that situation changes and we get something from them saying something else, then there's really not much more that I can tell you about it. I can tell you there was an accident. I can tell you he took out a light pole. And yes, it was him. And I can also confirm that we have spoken to him and he's given one version of events, and it is what it is until we find out more. And then when we find out more, we will certainly take it from there. Okay. So we will certainly keep all of you up to date on that. Now, we're looking for a thief, and I'm hoping that you guys saw this post on social media and that some of y'all may be able to assist with who this individual is, because there is an individual who went and stole some tools from someone who actually the person was actually in the hospital with a heart condition, having heart issues, while this person went and stole from them. Real Deal says accidents actually do happen. Perhaps he just fell asleep behind the wheel. It happens. If he was drunk, I'm sure the RCIPS would have booked him. Sorry, PPM bots. No need to go ape crazy. Yes, honey child. They're always looking for a little something. So one other thing about the PPM, while we're on the issue of politics, last week I called them out for having not attended the swearing-in ceremony of Cayman's first ever female Chief Justice, the first swearing-in ceremony that we have had in like 20 years, 25 years, whatever it was. And the first one that was ever public and open to people to attend, they were not in attendance. So after I called them out, they posted something on their social media page saying, oh yeah, congratulations to congratulations to the new Chief Justice and blah, blah, blah. Happy retirement to the old one. But the funniest thing about it is that was done after I called them out. And then my question remains, why were you not there? So they claim, I've heard it from another source that believes what they say, that they were not invited. I find it very hard to believe that the judiciary, an independent body who planned the swearing-in ceremony, planned this event, would not have invited all government officials. It's like inviting them to the grand opening of the courts. It's a standard email group, I'm sure, that the judiciary has available to them. And they send that out to everybody. So I've reached out to the judiciary in terms of trying to verify and fact check this to see if that's the case. I've not yet received a response from them. So we're waiting to see if they will respond, what the deal is. And then we can write a story. Until then, I can't write a story because I don't have anything to write. So anybody at the judiciary paying attention, please respond to this. Because the progressives have claimed that you guys did not invite them. Now, mind you, it was an event open to the public. I do agree that invitations should have been sent to everyone. Absolutely. But if there was some kind of oversight, and I assure you it would have been an oversight. The MPs do not get involved in running the judiciary in any way, shape, or form. That is a matter for the judiciary. That is a matter for the PA of the outgoing, that would have been Miss Patricia Ebanks, for the outgoing, what's his name? For the outgoing Chief Justice, the Honorable Mr. Smelly. And that's how it works. She sends out stuff directly on his behalf. And so I received, let me just try to go back here. I received on the, let me see when it went out. Trying to remember the date that the invite would have went out about her swearing in ceremony. And it was sent and it said it was open to the public. Let me just see how far back I can go. Anyway, for sure it was sent out because I do recall actually seeing the email about the details of it. But they claim that they didn't get any. So on the 25th, please see attached a brief program for the afternoon swearing in ceremony. I feel like they would have sent something before that date as well, but they actually sent an outline on the 25th, which that was the day of the event. No. They definitely sent something before then. Oh, the 21st. So they did an incoming Honorable Chief Justice will be sworn in. The ceremony, which takes place in Grand Court 1, beginning at 2 p.m. And then they said how it's going to be live streamed. The governor's office did a press release on this. So again, I don't know if the governor's office would have been responsible for inviting anyone, but they did a separate press release about this as well. We'll get to the bottom of this and see who was responsible for the invitations. All right. And we'll see. But according to the progressives now, when they're not showing up to stuff and we call them out, it's only then that they come up with this fanciful excuse. It's funny how they never say anything before. They come up with this excuse that they were not actually invited. I'm suspicious of this storyline. And I'm chasing it up. Yes, all right. Okay. Someone should tell us if they went right or not. And again, I can assure you, if this is a situation where the judiciary was responsible for the invitation, or even the governor's office, that they would not have neglected to invite the opposition to a public event. They just are something else. Sandra says, PPM, understand the people did not want your leadership. Give it up. No, they're that's a whole different kind of, they just don't give it up. No, honey child. They just can't do it. But in any event, even if you didn't get invited, the right thing to do would have been to send a representative there on behalf of the opposition, even just one person. Nobody went. All right, let's help catch a thief this morning. And then we're going to talk about the trials a little bit. Let's take a little bit of a commercial break. Shall I change costumes? Let me just have a quick vote of yes versus no. Shall I change from my bumblebee costume into something a bit more interesting? Maybe scary. Let's see. Send in your votes really quickly in the comment section before we take a commercial break. And then we're going to talk about Catching a Thief. And then we're going to discuss the Bruce Blake and Canova Watson trial because the jury was changed. So Better Builder says, yes, change the costume. Well, I've got some scary options like Dracula and pumpkins and all sorts of stuff. Anybody else? Better Builder says yes. Anybody else thinks that I should change my costume? I've got one that's like a candy face. Ooh, there's some scary ones here. Jim says, put your authentic self in. Lulu says yes. Donique says yes. Melinda's enjoying the bumblebee. She says no, leave the bumblebee. Amori says yes. Looks like the yeses have it. The ayes have it. Stephanie says yes, let's change it. Keep the bee, says Melinda. She loves it. Gabby says happy Halloween. Damien says put on Satan. Oh my Lord. I was reading something this morning about how Satan actually was a minor part in the Bible, but culture, pop culture has made him a pretty big deal. What a hot mess. All right, let's take a commercial break and I'm going to change my virtual Halloween outfit into something else. Lavon is like, bring yourself back. We want to see you. All righty, here we go, folks. Where are we? Yes.
Home Gas presents Nightmare on the Waterfront. 4 nights of frights and horror in Cayman's only nightmare haunted house. Watch your back as you make your way through terrifying moments and nightmare scares at every turn. In partnership with Sandbar, Tortuga, McAlpine, and featuring Lost Tortugas Pirates, 100% of proceeds will be donated to local charities. Visit nightmare.ky for more.
Wonderland Christmas trees are here. It's official. It's Cayman's most wonderful time of the year. Don't delay or all the elves will give the trees away. Stop by our Christmas tree lot to select from the finest balsam fir trees, starting at $100 for 5 to 6 feet. Christmas lot is located right next to Cost You Less in Governor Square. Selected from the best farms in Canada, your tree has been grown with love and care by all our elves for many years. Wonderland Christmas Trees is owned and operated by experienced elves with over 6 years of industry experience. Don't trust your Christmas tree needs to anyone else. And remember, for every tree you purchase, Wonderland Christmas Trees makes a donation to Feed Our Future and Meals on Wheels. Visit wonderlandtrees.ky or find us on Facebook to place your order today. Christmas tree sales going on now. Don't delay. Wonderland Christmas Trees, your best choice for Christmas.
Ho, 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 ho! Merry Christmas!
Recover Personal Injury Attorneys, helping injured people get what they deserve. Did you know that insurance companies have lawyers that represent their interests? Before signing and accepting any settlement, know your rights. Call us today for a free consultation at 924-9999. That's 924-9999. Recover. Your personal injury attorneys are on standby to assist.
In the mornings, no one wants to miss listening to The Cold Hard Truth or reading CMR. Cayman's #1 news platform has made your morning commute fun again. Pass this time with The Cold Hard Truth on weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Talk radio that's engaging, entertaining, and enlightening. But be careful. Some mornings it's so hot, you might run into a bit of trouble.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. So Dwayne was all for the bee as well. He's like, keep the bee buzz. He liked it. Melinda's going to switch over to the radio. I guess she's going to jump in her car now. And here we are. It's a little time for some Dracula this morning. So I've got my vampire outfit. I've got to take a screenshot of this and I'll send this to Gigi later on to say, look, we were both sort of dressed up virtually. I was as Madame Dracula for the morning show. She'll think this is funny. So she's allowed to go in her little Dracula outfit this morning. She dressed up and she got a little spider over the weekend and she could put the spider in her hand as well. But there you go. There's my little Dracula. Oh, this one kind of looks a little bit scary. All right. Wanda says, this is hilarious. I love the Dracula costume. Miss Marva says, good morning, Sandra Hill and CMR listeners. As you're aware, I'm not a supporter of PPM and their antics and behavior, but it is not just them. And doing this, I don't come because I'm not invited. Unfortunately, there are other MPs that are doing the same thing. Really? So childish. However, I take offense to this behavior because leading up to the elections, within the year, these same individuals just pop up and show up at all events, invited or not. But for what reason? This truly upsets me because and then unfortunately, it got cut off. Damien says, who is your dentist? I like how they actually, this one, that gave me really horrible looking teeth. Oh my gosh, this is so funny. All right, folks, 936-BOBO is the cell phone number if you'd like to join the conversation. Lavana's having a good laugh at this particular costume. Yes, Miss Marva, the point is not lost, and that's why I keep telling these MPs, you're the one who signed up for this. So is it a lot of work to go to, because listen, they go to a lot of events. Yes, it's a lot of work, honey child, but that's what you wanted to do. Did you not do the research before actually getting the job? Like, really? Because part of the job description, in case you missed that memo, is that you're expected to go to everything. All the official graduations, stuff for the kids. Like, listen, that's what you get paid to do. And given the fact that you're not in the LA, in Parliament, I should say, all that often really, but when they're there, I mean, they work long days. Yes, I'll give them that. But then you're not there for sometimes months at a time. What are you doing in between? You got your constituency office to run. Yes, you have staff to do that, to help you with that. Government is paying for that. We the people, in other words. And then you're expected to go to these events. So the biggest thing you have to do is simply have someone manage your calendar and to show up and be there. So I agree with you, Marva, and you let us know who else is doing it, and we'll call them out just like we're calling out the progressives too. All these MPs that don't want to go. By the way, shout out to Bernie Bush. I actually saw Bernie on Saturday. He was at the NORCECA Championship cheering the Cayman team on, so good for him. Good morning, Miss Debbie. I need to call you and give you some sauce after the show, Debbie. She says, morning, loving Dracula. Let me get my voice to go with it. Hold on. Which one would go? Voice? We've got monster.
Ha 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 ha. Good morning. This is Dracula Sandy here.
A little bit of fun this morning. All right, good folks. Okay, so let's help find a thief. So this gentleman is in the hospital having some heart issues. And then look at what this person does. This person goes and steals his tools. This is not cool. Whoever this person is, some people say that this person actually looks like a woman. And I thought about it for a minute. And the person does have a feminine walk and mannerism about them. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is a woman. It could just be a feminine looking man. I'm just saying. But it does appear that this person has a little feminine touch. What do y'all think? You know what I think gives it away? I actually do believe that this is a woman. There's a couple of things here. This is amateur detective hour. The shoes, they're not closed shoes. I think we are looking for a woman. Look at the shoes. The shoes look like they're actually sandals, like a piece on the top and then further around the ankle. Men don't wear shoes like that unless he's a cross-dresser for Halloween. But I'm just saying, men don't normally dress like that. The slim build of the pants, even the top underneath and the jacket, this looks like a woman who either has really short hair or she has her hair underneath the cap. You don't tend to see men dressed in a blazer like this. I suspect this could be a woman, but whoever it is, got on a cap and glasses. Let's see if we can. You kind of see how they're walking. Is that some kind of bag across the shoulder there in this one? Towards the back. This is the back view. They stole some $4,000 worth of equipment. Now, this person drives an SUV vehicle. You can't quite make out the make and model of the vehicle, but it has if you know vehicles, you might be able to figure out the shape a little bit here. And they are stealing $4,000 worth of tools. I think that this is a woman. Does it even look like they have a belt? They're very put together. Men men not gonna put themselves together that much. But it could be a man who's extremely well groomed, but I kind of feel like this is actually a woman. Now, the person appears to be right-handed, because as you can see in this picture, they chose to use their right hand as opposed to the left hand to carry off that bag of stuff, looks like. So there's the pictures that we have of this individual. Look like they were struggling with this particular item. I don't know what that item was. That one was quite big. But what woman would do this? This is just so strange for this to be a woman. Maybe she's doing it for the boyfriend. If your girlfriend shows up with $4,000 worth of tools that she's trying to give you, y'all need to call the police on her because she's a thief. Somebody says, love the Dracula. The B was too soft. This person says, good morning. White people don't understand that they have to listen to the show. Too funny. What a mess. So have a good look at these pictures, folks. And if you know who this is, man, woman, or in between, do give us a call, WhatsApp me. Y'all know how to reach me, message me, because we need to find this thief. She possibly needs to return this man's tools. But I think if it's a woman, she has very short hair. If it's a man, he's just kind of feminine, which is, all right, we'll go with it. But he had on open-toed shoes and a very slim-looking outfit. I'm a little bit perplexed by this one. This one has me confused. What do y'all think? Let's take a little vote. Man or woman in the house? Who do y'all think this thief is? Melita, good morning. Lulu is here. Benji's having a good laugh at the outfit, the costume change. Barbara says, love your costume. Morning, Sonia. Gabby says, maybe it's someone that knows he is in the hospital, possibly someone he knows. Entirely possible, child. They be the biggest thieves, the people around you who know your movements. Bishop Hero says, good morning, Sandy. I really love Dracula this morning. You are super. Aw, you're so sweet. Oh, Marissa says it looks like a Hyundai. What is it? Tucson? Looks like a 06 or 08, girl. You know your cars. I could only tell you it was an SUV, but look at this one. She says that looks like a Hyundai. What? The brand and the years and everything. Gabby says there's someone he knows set it up. Hello, Miss June. Her hair could be tucked up. Yes, it's a little bit hard to tell from the, hold on. From the back, it could be tucked or just a short cut. I mean, a lot of women wear nice short hair. OCM Production says maybe the person is just non-binary. All these fancy new words, honey chill. Sonia says, laughing out loud, God, if you're not easy, come here. They dress to fool the camera. Oh boy, Christmas is coming. She is hustling. Well, you know what? Richard thinks it's a woman. And I do kind of feel like the more I look at it, that it's probably a woman. But I got to tell you something. Some people will steal for other people. Or sometimes they steal to give people stuff. How can you steal as a gift? Like, oh, here, honey, $4,000 worth of new, tools. This poor man now comes out of the hospital after his heart situation. Can't even get back to work. Y'all are so horrible. Bring the man tools back, you thief. Darlene says she agrees that it's a woman. Now, wouldn't that be horrible if this is someone who actually knows that the man is in the hospital? Wow, y'all have no conscience. That would be horrible. Extra horrible. My God. But somebody has to be looking at that vehicle. If Marissa is right, it's a Hyundai, what is it? Tucson, 06 to 08. That narrows it down a little bit. They left the vehicle running as they went back and forth with the tools, please, by all means. You know what we need to find out? I think these were taken from a video. We need to see the person walking. There's a lot that can be said from a person's walk and that type of demeanor that would be extra helpful. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Morning, Sandy. How are you?
Not bad, dear. How are you?
Good, good. It's Castro. Sandy, over the weekend, I need your help finding a young lady because I found her wallet.
Oh, okay.
And I'm trying to get a hold. I don't know how to send you a WhatsApp picture of her driver's license that you can post it up. Hopefully, you can help me locate this young lady.
Yeah, just send it on WhatsApp. 324-1612 is the best number. What is that? What's her name? Let's go ahead and put her name out there now since you're on the line.
Okay. Lorraine, is it Baygot? Baygot?
That's a V?
Baygot is the last name. And Lorraine is the first name.
Lorraine, and that's a B with a as in boy or V as in Victor?
B.
B as in boy.
B as in boy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Lorraine Baygot sounds like your license has been found. License and wallet or just a license?
Yeah. I know I found a wallet, but it's just all her IDs and stuff are in it. That's it.
And that's what people want back. So, all right. Well, we'll find her. Go ahead and send it to me on the WhatsApp number.
Okay.
And,
so repeat that WhatsApp number to me again.
324-1612.
1612. Okay, thanks.
All right, my dear.
Yeah, because I'm gonna head to the bank and see if I can get them to email her as well.
Yeah.
If her debit card is here too.
Yeah, no problem. We'll find her.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you, Sandra.
You're welcome.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, Miss Lorraine. Anybody know Miss Lorraine? Give her a quick shout out. We found some other wallets and stuff over the weekend as well, and they've been reunited. People lost phones over the weekend. We've had, as a matter of fact, someone just sent me a message this morning saying that they lost a phone. Somebody just sent me a phone number. Is that her number? Did we find her already? I don't know. Someone sent me a name and a number, but I don't know what that's supposed to be in relation to. So someone has enlarged it. It's tough. I don't know. Someone has enlarged the videos a little bit. It could still be a man. Like when I'm looking at the enlarged, oh gosh, this is a tough one. I gotta tell you, I don't know what sex this person is, because I still kind of feel like it's a man that just dresses with, layers, which some men do. So, So I'm gonna get. I'll see if we can get the video, because there is a lot, like I said, that you can ascertain from even how somebody walks. Yes. Siobhan says a thief has no conscience. Paul says, morning, Sandra, CMR. Some good investigation work, honey child. Looks like a female to me. Yes, but I want to see them walking. I think if I saw them walking, I would be in a better position to call it male or female. Sometimes men put women up to doing things like that, says Darlene. Barbara says a woman is my guess, but the police should be able to get a much bigger and better close up of the face and license number. Sandra, no license plate. You can't see it here. Now, let me tell y'all something. Folks, we have security cameras on the place and the technology changes all the time. My husband has recently updated our cameras because you went from having HD to 4K. 4K is now 8K and all sorts of stuff. So every couple of years, you want to buy a system. Pay attention now, I'm giving y'all some free advice. You want to buy a system that you can just change out certain components, right? So not long ago, we've updated our cameras because even night vision has improved significantly over the last couple of years. So, don't just get a camera system, let it sit there for 10, 15 years and think that that's going to do for the rest of your life. You update it and you'll get better visuals as well. So Darlene says, I'm looking at the neckline of the inside tee, and I do think that that's what I was looking at as well. That was kind of making me think this is a woman. All right, let me see now if we can get some other, somebody enlarged it for me. So let's have a closer look at one of the pictures. So that's enlarged. Yeah, I'm about 80% woman, 20% man that looks like a woman. Like he would have to be very feminine looking, but I do kind of feel like this could be a woman. Richard says a man in disguise. Would a man go to all that trouble to look like a woman? Well, the person does wear glasses. And you know what? The glasses, I think, are very, they're a giveaway. Because this person needs glasses to see, honey child. And look at the frame. Looks like it's darker colored around the edge. The arms look like they're plastic. A darker color. And then the nose bridge piece looks like it matches the arm. So y'all pay attention. Steb says it's clearly a male. Lavana says that could be the idea, to look like a woman to throw off who it really is. Cindy says from the haircut, it looks like a man. That's the thing too, why I think it is a man. The body kind of looks a little bit feminine in a way, like the dressing and the tee underneath and whatever, but I think that the hair for me, and it's just a man with a nice little jawline there. But we'll see if we can get some video footage. And if we can get that, I will, I'll let you guys know. All right. Very good. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's talk about, as we get more information, like I said, we'll post that up. Let's talk a little bit now about the Canova Watson and Bruce Blake case. This is a extremely unfortunate situation. Listen, you do the crime, you're going to do the time. But I would have to say that I wonder, right? That this verdict came down on Friday. Oh, before we get to that, one other thing. The ACCA, the Anti-Corruption Commission, ACC, Anti-Corruption Commission, yes, has charged the head of, and these stories kind of go together in a way, but they have actually charged the head of the National Housing Trust. My sources had told me it was coming. So from Thursday, I thought we would have got the official confirmation. Y'all heard me say that somebody's charges are coming. Oh, Lord Jesus. Why y'all just don't know how to behave? My goodness. When you take certain positions on boards, government appointments, and so on, please do yourselves a favor. Don't take these positions just for the money and not understand what your responsibilities are. Because now Mr. Jeffrey, 45 years old, Jeffrey William Ebanks, has been charged with a conflict of interest contrary to sections 19.2 and 19.3 of the Anti-Corruption Act 2019 revision, and breach of trust contrary to section 13 of the same act. Mr. Jeffrey, that will be jail time for you, sir. What the hell is wrong with you all? Take your responsibilities very seriously. Dot your I's and cross your T's because you're serving as a public individual. And the law will come after you. Whether it's dirt, like literal mall road, literal marl that you moving from one place to the next and giving it to people without going through the proper bidding process or whatever. Hey, as a board chairman, you don't get involved in none of that. Leave that to the people running the various trusts and agencies. You don't get your hands involved in nothing. People come to you, oh, well, can we do this with the moral? Can we do that? No. You know what you tell them? The moral is for the Mall Road. Let Sandy deal with the moral. We're not getting into that. If dirt is to be moved, I am not getting into it. That's what you should have told them. Go to the head of the trust. They will know what laws guide their movements and how to go about moving something from point A to point B. Now, hear the stupidity of how this is going to all go down. He'll probably be found guilty. And then what? You're going to go to jail over dirt? But it is a matter of principle. You cannot do certain things. So they've carried out their investigations and they've charged him as of Friday. We'll keep y'all updated. Hopefully not going to be no 5-year case again. Oh, Lord Jesus. I don't even know what to say. It's just the decisions that you make, folks. Just be careful with the decisions that you make when you're in these positions. Some of y'all should not be accepting these positions. Dave says, check the street government CCTV camera within an hour window in the area of the resident and try and locate the car. That's a great idea. This gentleman has reached out to the police and he said that they were not much help. I guess they're thinking a $4,000 theft. Who cares? RCIPS, please do your jobs now. Bishop thinks without a doubt it's a man. Lavana thinks it's a man. Inspiring says that I look scary this morning. Hold on.
Good morning, Inspiring. How are you?
Sandra says, is he Minister J.E. Banks' family? I don't know. I guess they're all from Northside. I know he was a campaign supporter, but I don't know if they're family. Are all the Ebankses from Northside family? It could be. But he was definitely appointed on the recommendation of the minister. And of course, ministers and MPs, this makes you look bad. Although you ain't got nothing to do with the decisions that he made, it still makes you look bad that you appointed him. Ah, Lord, have mercy. No, sir. So the allegation is that he's a local farmer and his family has farmland in Northside. The decision was made to sell or gift the soil, which belongs to the housing trust, without going through the correct procurement process, running afoul of transparency principles. The soil is said to be valued at several $1,000s. Former Public Accounts Committee Chairman and former Northside MP, Ezra Miller, said earlier this morning that he had checked the ownership of the land where the material was taken and confirmed that it was owned by Ebanks. The fill is an asset of the trust, of the housing trust. If it was sold to the board chairman, there should have been a transparent process surrounding that in which the rest of the board would have approved the sale and ensured that it was at market value. This is what Mr. Ezra said before. The site was cleared earlier this year, I think it was, to make room for the first affordable housing project in Northside. Folks, it doesn't matter if you're moving dirt or if you're trying to sell insurance to people. When you're involved, you have got to be hands off. No conflicts of interest. Huh? I don't know what's wrong with y'all. But y'all soon learn that this anti-corruption people, that they're not playing around. And all of you will be ending up in jail together. Caymanians, get your shit together. All right. 13 weeks of a trial. The lawyers did their best. But honey child, at the end of the day, unfortunately, Miss Sandra lost my bank card near Price Right on Friday. This person's name is Mrs. C.D. Gouws, Gouws. So this person has lost their bank card. If someone has picked it up, it looks like an overseas bank card based on the picture they've sent from Global One. Please call. All right, lost and found. This is another, okay, Lauren. Lauren Baygot. Baygot. Oh, I know someone who lives in that area. Let me see if they know who she is. Hold on. Let me send this to Eddie. Eddie, see if this is your neighbor. She lives up the street from you. Based on the address. We soon find him. Don't worry. All right. I think that address is an apartment complex. So I'm just going to check somebody who lives there. Okay. All right. Good stuff. So someone says a woman for sure or a very feminine guy. All right. We'll see. Miss Darlene says, no worries. CMR got this. Miss Bonnie says, it's sad. His parents are very respectful people. He was trained well, shaking my head. Well, listen to me. At the end of the day, at some point, your parents ain't got nothing to do with it anymore. When you're a big man in your 50s, how old is he? How old did I just say he was? 45? His parents ain't got nothing to do with this. They did their job at least 30 years ago. And I'm sure that they did the best that they could. And maybe, I don't know anything about Mr. Ebanks. Maybe he is, generally speaking, an honest guy, but he just didn't think this one through. And now you're going to end up in jail because you weren't thinking. I don't know him. So I can't make any aspersions about his character, so to speak. But it's sad. Listen, Bruce Blake comes from a good family. He's lived his entire life without having been caught up in any kind of criminal activity, far as we know. Canova Watson, well, his poor mama made all sorts of sacrifices to ensure that he could go to university, get a good university education. And, it's unfortunate, but now look, been to jail once and probably headed to jail again. It's sad. Oh, but what to do? 13-week trial. Watson was found guilty of 6 counts, including secret commissions, money laundering, false accounting. Blake was found guilty of 2 counts of false accounting. Bruce Blake was found not guilty of acquiring criminal property and entertaining an arrangement to facilitate the retention, use, or control of criminal property. So Watson, former treasurer of CFA, was accused of stealing $1.54 million from CONCACAF in 2013. And former vice president of CFA, Bruce Blake, helped him to launder the money. This is what the court heard throughout the trial. Now, sad situation. Y'all remember that the very first story that Cayman Mall Road put up, our very first story when the website went up, was that Bruce Blake had been arrested. And it was such shocking news. I have worked with him at Maples. I saw him around and stuff. A hardworking young man. He was a CPA when he came on board at Maples doing accounts. Eventually, he went on to law school, got his law degree. These young men are smart young men. This is what we tell our children. Like, you want to grow up and be a CPA or a lawyer or an accountant if that's what you want to do with your life, right? But regardless of what your title is, you always have to toe the line. You're only one bad mistake or one poor decision, not a mistake because it's a decision. You're only one poor decision, folks, from actually being a criminal. One decision leads to you doing these types of things. And Lord have mercy, look at where you're at. Heading to jail at the age of, how old is Bruce? 50-something years old? Pregnant wife, young child. This is going to hurt for him and his family. And I can tell you that I was listening to it on the Zoom, the sentencing. So I didn't get to see the responses on their faces or anything like that. But I was told from people who were there that Bruce Blake looked like his entire world just dropped out from underneath him. Canova, he's been this road before, so I guess he was like, yeah, kind of probably expecting it. He knows what jail life is like. You know, Bruce doesn't know anything about jail life. He hasn't been there yet. This is going to hurt for him and his family. And it's unfortunate. Canova's mother recently died. Poor her. She had Alzheimer's, I understand, for the last couple of years. So maybe that was a blessing in disguise that she didn't know much of what was going on. Because people have shared stories about how this poor woman used to save up her little partner money. And she didn't even know, you know, because she wasn't an educated woman when she came here from Jamaica back in the day. So she would go to other people that she trusted for them to send her partner money off to him when he was in university to pay for his school and this and that, whatever. My God, such a sad situation. So anyway, the court heard that Watson gave CONCACAF 3 sales invoices totaling $1.54 million for item purchased from Forward Sports. However, they were false and erroneous statements intended to mislead CONCACAF. The Crown argued that there was no evidence that the sporting equipment and uniforms ordered from Fast Forward were ever received, despite the payments being made. False accounting. Forward Sports also denied having knowledge of the payments. Watson's defense argued that the invoices were paid because the goods were ordered and some items were supplied, and the defense claimed that delays and non-deliveries were due to quality issues and shipping problems. He was accused of setting up his own companies as subsidiaries of Forward Sports International Pakistan without the knowledge of the parent company. All kind of paperwork. This was an immense trial, like big, so many documents and bundles, and oh my God, 13 weeks. However, the defense said Forward International was aware of Watson setting up companies in Panama and the Cayman Islands. So disagreement there. Forward company saying, nope, they don't know nothing about it. Watson was accused of making 2 $600,000 transfers from his company, Forward Sports International Panama, to the Cayman Islands Football Association, knowing that it was the proceeds of crime. Blake now, this is where Bruce Blake comes in, was accused of entering into several agreements with Watson to facilitate the laundering of the criminal property. And the court here heard, I think that's supposed to be heard, that Blake made false statements to CIFA's auditors about the origin of the 2 loans used to pay down an existing loan the local football association had with Fidelity Bank. So all of this kind of mixed up in shenanigans, folks. Lord have mercy. What a mess. So incredibly unfortunate. So Blake, in his defense, said that he did not know that the money sent to him by Watson were criminal property. Attorneys representing Blake said that the only thing his client, Bruce Blake, was guilty of was trusting his lifelong friend, Canova Watson. Let me say this in terms of that defense, right? When you are in business, folks, I can tell you all, do not, I don't care if the person is a lifelong friend or not, do not, under any circumstances, trust people when it comes to business. Toe the line. Your lifelong friend comes to you wanting you to help them move this kind of money, honey child, I'd be like, you must be out of your damn mind. No, Bobo, not today, not tomorrow, and not ever. You are an attorney, your financial background, you know, all of us who have worked in that area, you've done money laundering training, you should know a thing or two about when a situation looks suspicious. And there were other people in CIFA at the time who Canova tried to approach, and they were like, this don't, man, I get involved in that. I would need legal advice. If you hire a lawyer and have them give me legal advice that this is an up and up and this paperwork and and all the due diligence has been done and this has been checked and blah, 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 Everything's in writing. Everything's crystal clear. Legal advice. Okay. No. People be trying to move money around. Listen, it's peculiar. If a friend comes to you and they're like, oh, I need you to pay my bills for me with this cash, and they're giving you money, you're like, why can't you pay your own bills? Don't fall for people's shenanigans. Don't let anybody draw you in and mix you up, because then you end up going to jail and leaving a pregnant wife at home when you didn't make any money off of this foolishness. You were just helping a friend. Deceived by your friend. Lord Jesus. The court heard that both men created false loan agreements for $600,000 and gave it to CFA's auditors with the intention to deceive the organization into thinking the money was received as a loan. The money received was a loan, my apologies. However, Watson said it was not a false loan agreement, but was loan documents for the Center of Excellence. On the other hand, Blake denied signing the loan document and said that his signature was fixed to the document without his knowledge. He said he had previously sent his electronic signature to Watson for another document. Let me tell y'all something about electronic signatures. I know a thing or two about electronic signatures because I sign PDFs electronically. I'm telling y'all, modern technology not stupid, In order for me to insert my electronic signature on a document, it requires a password to do so. Because Adobe ain't fooling around with, somebody can just insert your even coming to sit down at my computer, you can't do it unless you know the password. Every document that I electronically sign, it pops up with my signature, and then it says, hold on. If you want to insert this electronic signature and have it authenticated, because it has a little authentication thing next to it, right? You better make sure that you know the password. That's just how it works. So I can't be signing no document electronically, a PDF, without knowing that password. And then it verifies that either it was me or somebody who knew my password, and you don't share your passwords with nobody. So I don't know how this electronic signature would have been moving around like that. So QC Dapinder Singh KC, who represented Watson, accused the Crown of not providing a full story. He said that his client was a legitimate businessman who had committed no crime. Obviously, that argument is a little bit harder to prove when you've already been convicted before. And they said that investigators were biased against Watson because he was convicted of scamming the Health Services Authority in the care pay. Now, here's the thing about it, right? Margaret Ramsey, this is actually her last case that she was doing as a regular judge. Now she's the Chief Justice. She will continue to hear cases, but she will only deal with, I think, certain types of cases. You know what? I need to interview Margaret Ramsey to understand exactly what a Chief Justice even does. How many of y'all would be interested in that interview? I'm going to message them and see if we can arrange a thing or two. So we can learn a little bit more about this role of Chief Justice. We the people have to understand the judiciary and how it works. It's to your benefit to know how these things work. Anyway, my darlings, I think that the lawyers did what they could do. In the situation. And, couldn't do anymore, honey child. All right. So we'll see where this goes. Now, there was a bit more of the discussion surrounding what to do with these men, right? Are they going to go to jail right away? The prosecution was really pushing to incarcerate them immediately. And one thing I must say about Ramsey, Magistrate, Chief Justice Ramsey Hill, is she has a big heart. So, she was like, she made some comments like, listen, I was listening to her very, very carefully. And she said, in terms of continued bail, you showed up every time you're supposed to show up, never had any issues speaking to Mr. Blake and so on. You were where you're supposed to be. I'm going to continue your bail, but make it very, very, make it clear now that you have to continue to do what you need to do. And I think she put I believe she was asking for, I can't remember she ended up, because there's a bit of back and forth for Bruce Blake. The only person he could find to be a surety for him is his like 85-year-old father. And she was like, no. I'm not going to use an 85-year-old man for surety. This is in the event that he tries to run, goes on the lam and doesn't show up. Because the poor 85-year-old man, what's he going to put up? His house or whatever? He would lose everything. And she's like, no, that would be unconscionable to use an old man in his 80s. I don't know if Bruce's mom is still alive, but they only made mention of the dad. So anyway, she said no. She can't take a surety from a man in his mid 80s. That just would not be right. So she allowed them to continue their bail. She gave them a very, very stern warning to adhere to the bail conditions. This is what she said. Anytime you are not where you're supposed to be, I'm going to revisit bail. And if you are called by social services for an interview and you don't go, you might find me issuing an order for your arrest and reconsidering the bail application, because I want this to be done by January. So they're supposed to go back in January. Yeah. Of course, the prosecution objected, especially for Watson, Canova Watson, stating that he was a flight risk due to the length of the sentence that he was possibly facing. And the court actually heard that he had a previous court order to pay $1 million in restitution for the Carapace situation, and that he sold his Atlanta house, because remember him and what his friend their name, him and Jeff Webb bought homes in the same neighborhood in Atlanta and all kind of foolishness, trying to live this posh life. And unfortunately, he sold that house and has not paid anything back on the $1 million. So the interesting thing about that is the court heard, sorry, that they're actually looking, they've already put in an order that he's breached that repayment. And now they are looking to sentence him to another 6 months for not paying the $1 million. So, Bruce Blake's father's 82, not 85. My apologies. So I don't know. It's a hot mess. And again, I caution you all, be careful when you're in these organizations. Oh, I'm going to be president of CFA and president. You toe the line and you do things by the book. You trust nobody. I don't care what documents they claim that they're bringing to you. Don't trust them, like how you wouldn't trust a vampire walking up to you on Halloween night. What a mess, this whole case. And I don't understand the underlying need for it. I wonder if Canova would give me an exclusive interview at some point. At some point when all the appeals are said and done, he's sitting in jail, reflecting how he's messed up his own life with some really poor decisions. I wonder if he would just come clean in a nice CMR exclusive interview. Why? My question is why? How much money does a person need? Because he was managing director of his own company, making sources tell me upwards of $25,000 a month, plus bonuses and drawdowns. And it's like, how much money could you need? I don't understand it. To me, it's just so weird. It's like greed beyond anything that is logical. Just doesn't make any sense. There's only so many houses you can live. You can only live in one house at a time. Even if you have a property in Atlanta, it's like, come on. You could have done all of that with the hard work that you're putting in otherwise. Good gracious me. Meanwhile, Jeff Webb, living his best life, Woo, honey. In Atlanta, that man undoubtedly will probably never see a day in jail because he was singing like a canary all over the place. Cordova used to be managing director over at Admiral Administration. It's just sad. So, yeah, Jeff Webb. How many times has Jeff Webb, had his case put off? Oh my gosh. It's at least 10, 12 times. Former president of CONCACAF, Cayman Islands Football Association as well, and FIFA vice president. It has been postponed for the 11th time in September of last year, and all now. We're not hearing nothing about it yet. No, sir? Oh my God. I don't know what to say. Except 6 years later, he has not yet been sentenced. 7 years now. He's not gonna be sentenced. This is this is ridiculous. And his so-called allies, this came out during the trial in relation to him, were seeking to set up a $100 million fighting fund to help install him as the top officials in the world game. This is what a court heard during the Canova trial. These were emails that were presented, demonstrate the hopes that Webb would have succeeded set Blatter as president of FIFA. The emails were between Fidelity Bank executives, written in the aftermath of a conference for global soccer leaders at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Grand Cayman in October of 2013. In those emails, the bankers expressed their view that Webb, who was a vice president of FIFA at the time, had been anointed as Blatter's long-term heir to the CONCACAF Sports Summit at the CONCACAF Sports Summit, and the controversial Swiss administrator who led FIFA from June of 1998 until his suspension in August of 2015, following a corruption scandal, was believed to have favored Webb because, like many of his European contenders, he would not look into claims of wrongdoings by Blatter. What? Willing to turn the blind eye, honey child. In an email read out in court during the trial, Anwar Sunderji, the now deceased head of Fidelity Bank, apprised the bank's executive committee of Webb's likely career trajectory. Here you know. In the message, Sunderji claimed to have been told by Watson that Webb would need $100 million fighting fund to make a serious bid to succeed Blatter. $100 million, you know? Y'all let that sink in with your vampire teeth this morning. So testifying at Watson's corruption trial on Friday, former Fidelity Bank CEO Brett Hill, remember him? We were talking about him during COVID because he was the one talking about, pensions, this and that, and he can just meet with Alden and smooth everything over. He can take Alden to lunch and it will all be fine. As to why Fidelity had such a hard, disastrous time paying out pensions. So he was the recipient of that email and claimed that the $100 million was likely to mean $100,000. Yeah, right. Rather than the international convention of $100 million. Yeah, sure. Sure it was. Listen to me, folks. Do not be fooled into thinking that there are not other people whose hands were dirty. We're not dirty into this situation. There were a lot of dirty hands. And you know the saddest part? Is nobody else has gone down? Are there politicians? Their hands were into it, allegedly, and they're not gone nowhere. Unfortunate. It is just quite shocking, really and truly. Such a sad situation. Anyway, you can better believe that if this whole thing did not go down the way that it did, that it would have been $100 million and they would have found the money. He was formerly a Fidelity himself, Webb. They were going to have these people back them. That would have been probably your pension money they were going to be using. You sitting there talking about, oh yeah, he meant $100,000 and not $100 million. I'm not believing it. Yes, sir. Sad. Anyway, the bank was following the progress of Webb, who was a former employee, closely, in part because they had loaned the Cayman Islands Football Association $1.6 million under Webb's presidency. See how they secured that loan. The loan secured by CIFA's Center of Excellence headquarters and football pitch, as well as personal guarantees by Webb and Watson, had been serviced only sporadically, with payments covering mostly interest costs. Now, hear that story for a minute and let that sink in. Because you and I would never, be able to secure a loan and only service it sporadically without some very, very serious implications. In other words, they would come calling to foreclose on it. But you see what happens when you have money and you have connections, my apologies, and that sort of thing. Yeah, this is what happens, honey chow. You get to have certain privileges that the rest of us do not. Anyway, the email from Sundarji dated October 23rd, 2013, described his view of the political infighting among FIFA officials in the succession of Blatter at the time. He noted that there was a lot of, what he says, gnashing of teeth and concerns, and the announcement had been made prematurely. And he also said there was subsequent backtracking by Blatter and Webb, but I think most observers would see Webb as a successor, providing there's no dirt on him. This is what it said in the email, as the long knives are probably out. This is how these people do business. This is how they're talking. Well, if he not got no dirt on him, maybe, yeah. He went on to say, my own view, is that Blatter does not want a European successor, as he's concerned that they would investigate him, which would potentially taint his legacy. And Jeff is someone who would likely not pursue that option. Of course he wouldn't. Because the poor little Caribbean boy who grew up and got to this height in life is already tainted because he's willing to look the other eye when corruption is happening. That's basically what the man's saying. He went on to say that Webb had told him that Blatter was not yet ready to give up the presidency, but that Webb, who had been lavishly praised by international political leaders at the event, was prepared to bide his time. He was young and he was going to wait, honey chill. The chairman told the bank's executive committee, it is evident that Blatter is grooming him to be his successor. If Jeff plays his cards right, he would be the boss of FIFA in 5 years. He could be. Wow. What a mess. This is all the stuff that was happening. Well, honey child, in order to fit in, he was getting his hands all dirty and in the mix. And in the end, do you think he will ever come back to Cayman? Do you think he'll ever come back to the Cayman Islands? I kind of don't think so. Because remember, now he's still facing care pay charges. But more importantly, why have we not extradited him? I guess because they're waiting to see if he'll be sentenced for that other thing. And presumably, if he doesn't get sentenced for that, if they give him a slap on the wrist, which I think is likely to happen, I'm assuming that then we will attempt to extradite him to face the charges here. All of us sitting down waiting to see how this is gonna pan out. Anyway, we'll keep an eye on it for you, good folks, and we will certainly let you know what is going on in relation to that. 936 Bobo. Let me see now. We got some comments. Janetta says, I can't help but laugh. Love your filter for Halloween. Thank you. Hi, Anthony. Mitchell says, rise from the dead and become a student of life and love. Ms. Darlene says, I'm just seeing your costume now. You are? Oh my goodness. I had on a bumblebee costume earlier. Darlene says, Gigi must have had a good laugh or a good scare or laugh. Well, she hasn't seen it yet. I'm going to show her a picture of it later on. Darlene says, I think that was a surety for Mr. Watson, his elderly father. Let me double check the story because I didn't actually write the story. It was Renee. But I kind of believe that they were talking about Bruce with the father. Oh gosh, hold on. I'll double check that, but I think it was no, I don't think Canova's father was ever in the picture. I think that was Bruce's dad. Hold on, let me tell you. I'll double check. Yeah, you had to listen very, very carefully. And big shout out to Renee. She did a pretty good job of summing up all this trial and stuff. Just listening to it from Zoom, you know, sometimes it's hard. But oh, you're right. It says Watson was offered bail with a surety. However, the judge removed it due to his inability to find anyone to stand for him. Justice Ramsey Hill refused Watson's father. So you're absolutely right. Thank you very much. As a surety due to his advanced age. His father's 82 years old. Oh, okay. For some reason, when I was listening to it, I thought that was Blake's dad. All right. So apparently, you know, Watson still lives with his fiancée, but she's not able to assist him in this regard. What to say? We'll keep you all updated in January. At least they get to spend the holidays with family, you know, which is, there's something to be said for that, my love. All right. Miss Darlene says maybe if Watson's mom's property has to be sold. I'm not sure if she's still with us. She passed away recently, I believe, because that was brought up by his attorney as well. To say that his mother had passed away, and I believe he wanted to travel or something and was unable to do so. Something to do with the mother's death. I don't know. But yes, the mother has recently passed away. So quite a sad situation all the way around, really. All right, let's play our news today. We are watching a thank you, Miss Debbie. He says his mom passed away. I had the pleasure of working with her. She was wonderful. She would be so upset. I know, poor thing. But we do have a weather system, Tropical Storm Lisa, that we are watching, folks. Keep an eye on this. I do not believe that it is something that will impact us. It's going to go more south. But a tropical storm warning or watch, which one was issued yesterday? Tropical storm watch was issued yesterday for the Cayman Islands. This will impact us on Wednesday. I think it's going to be so far from us. We might get a little bit of breeze, honey child, but not much. So I wouldn't worry about it too much, but it just is a reminder that we all have to be prepared for these things to happen because you just never know, right? So thank you, Alejandro. Says, oh man, Miss Sandra, this is so much better than listening in the radio. Love the filters. Let me do a little voice for radio listeners so they can at least get a little bit of
the Halloween vibe is in the studio. Let's now go to Kevin Watler, who is bringing us the latest weather and news updates. Take it over, Kevin.
Hello, I'm Kevin Watler, and this is your CMR Daily Buzz. Police are now trying to locate 4 men, 3 believed to be armed with handguns, following a robbery at the Marston's Esso gas station on Bordentown Road. The 4 men made off with cash, liquor, and cigarettes. The police helicopter was also deployed to assist with locating the robbers. However, they were not located. A 30-year-old man from Bordentown who pulled a gun on an officer last month after he was unable to outrun the officer due to his obese condition has been arrested. Following the incident, which took place on September 23rd, the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service reported that the man pointed a firearm at the police officer after being stopped in relation to a motor vehicle collision. The man has since been charged with possession of an imitation firearm with the intent to commit a crime, namely causing harassment, alarm, or distress. Additionally, he was charged with driving without insurance and driving whilst disqualified. A search was launched for 3 teenage females who did not return home last week. Michaelia Cunningham and Austina Williams have returned home and both appear to be in good health. The 12 and 13-year-old pair did not return home on Friday after school, and police are thanking the public for their assistance in locating them. However, Jasmine Ebanks still remains missing. The 14-year-old departed her home for John Gray High School on Thursday and has not returned since. She is encouraged to return home or to the nearest police station immediately. MP Dwayne John Seymour was involved in a single motor vehicle collision on Friday night around 11 on Shamrock Road near Barkham, Esso. CMR sources revealed that the MP for Bordentown East was unharmed but caused significant damage to a light pole that needed to be replaced. Speaking exclusively to CMR, he confirmed that he was not injured and the Premier attended the scene. While many speculated about the cause of the accident, Mr. Seymour told CMR that he had just left his office and was tired. A jury returned a mixed verdict on Friday for defendants Conover Watson and Bruce Blake in a trial that lasted for 13 weeks. Watson was found guilty of 6 counts including secret commissions, money laundering, and false accounting, while Blake was found guilty of 2 counts of false accounting. Watson, former treasurer for CIFA, was accused of stealing US $1.54 million from CONCACAF in 2013, and former vice president of CIFA Bruce Blake helped him to launder this money, the court heard during the trial. Jeffrey William Ebanks, the National Housing Development Trust Board chairman, has been charged following a 3-month-long investigation into the movement of soil and marl taken from a Northside job site. The Anti-Corruption Unit has confirmed that the 45-year-old has been charged with conflict of interest contrary to Sections 19.2 and 19.3 of the Anti-Corruption Act, and breach of trust contrary to Section 3 of the same Act. A 31-year-old man of Northside was charged on suspicion of murder in relation to the Martin Drive shooting that took place on July 1st. During this shooting, 36-year-old Mark Ebanks and 55-year-old Eldon Walton were both shot and killed, and one other man sustained gunshot injuries. Following his arrest, the Northside man was formally charged with 2 counts of murder, 1 count of attempted murder, and possession of an unlicensed firearm. An arson investigation is underway after fire and police officers responded to a report of a fire outside an address on Greenwood Drive in Georgetown, where 3 vehicles were parked. This occurred shortly after 4:30 Friday morning, and firefighters extinguished the fire and no one was injured. Police are now asking for anyone who can help with the investigation to contact them. Detectives are investigating a stabbing that occurred in the Belford Estates area of Bordentown around 7 Wednesday night. It was reported that a man and woman who are known to each other had a physical altercation resulting in the man receiving several stab wounds. He was transported to the hospital by ambulance where he was treated for serious but non-life-threatening injuries and later released. The woman, aged 29, of Bordentown was arrested in relation to this wounding incident, and she too received non-life-threatening injuries and was treated at the hospital and returned to custody. She has since been bailed pending further investigations. Police are appealing for witnesses to the fatal single-vehicle crash which led to the death of Dr. Amber Martinez on October 21st. Anyone who may have witnessed the crash or who may have seen her silver Honda Fit in the vicinity of Queens Highway between 5:45 and 6:10 that morning is asked to contact the Bordentown Police Station or the Traffic and Roads Policing Unit. In light of the devastating news of the recent death of a security officer in a suspected case of suicide, a men's mental health group is encouraging males in the Cayman Islands to reach out to the group if they need help. The private group on Facebook is called Strong. The group's mission is to spread awareness of male mental health issues and share content, talks, research, and techniques people use to maintain strong mental health. Facebook Group Strong, which was started by Garvin Kerville, said it also aims to create awareness of the misdirection of masculinity and create a community of support for anyone struggling.
Stormwatch 2022 is brought to you by Home Gas, your propane experts before, during, and after the storm.
A tropical storm watch has been issued for the Cayman Islands and Jamaica as potential tropical cyclone 15 moves west-northwest. At any moment, the system is expected to become Tropical Storm Lisa. The tropical system is expected to pass south of Jamaica on Monday and south of Grand Cayman on Tuesday. As the system passes south of Grand Cayman, it is forecast to turn into a hurricane. Late Wednesday or early Thursday, it is expected to make landfall either in Belize, Honduras, Mexico, or Guatemala.
Stormwatch 2022 is brought to you by Home Gas, your propane experts before, during, and after the storm.
Now for your CMR weather update, it's brought to you by WG Charters. The sunrise this morning was at 6:25. Be ready for the possibility of heavy rain and thunderstorms. Now, when the temperature is at 85 degrees Fahrenheit and humidity at 78% like the forecast calls for, it will feel around 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, of course, if it's overcast, it's going to feel a little cooler when it's cloudy outside. Now, the winds will be northeast at 10 to 20 miles per hour and the sun sets at 5:51. At nighttime, the temperature falls to the low 80s. Now, looking forward, stronger winds and rough seas through Wednesday as potential tropical cyclone 15 passes the Cayman Islands. CMR weather updates are brought to you by WG Charters. They offer private boat trips for a great price, so we encourage you to support them. Now for some regional and international news. Bermuda's Premier David Burt has sacked 2 of his cabinet ministers in a shakeup following his victory in a progressive Labour Party leadership battle against Curtis Dickinson. Out are Youth, Culture and Sports Minister Dr. Ernest Peace, who sits in the Senate, and Transport Minister Lawrence Scott, who initially said he planned to run for the PLP's deputy leadership role before ruling out a challenge. Jamaica's Education Ministry is investigating the protocols of devotional exercises following Wednesday's shocking incident at the Oberlin High School in St. Andrew. Several students reportedly collapsed during the school's daily devotion after a female teacher prayed for them. In light of the occurrence, Education Minister Favourable Williams said that it is the role of leaders to be cautious about the content and its effects on the students. Miss Universe has suspended Miss USA President Crystal Stewart and her company, and she is under investigation following 2022's contestants speaking out about the pageant being rigged weeks before the October 3rd contest. Miss USA 2022 crowned Miss Texas Arbani Gabriel its first Filipino-American winner earlier this month. Since then, contestants have called into question the relationship between Stewart and her company, Miss Brand Corp and Gabriel. That's it for now on the Daily Buzz. Thank you for joining me. Please stay safe and God bless.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels and visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.